Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, my friends. My name is Vermilion. Today is a great day, my friends. We've just gotten our first look at zombies in Call of Duty Vanguard, and it's looking to be one of the most eerie and dark renditions of zombies we've seen yet. If you haven't already watched the trailer and the overview video released on the Call of Duty channel, I have linked them down below to view at your own leisure. In this video, I want to go over what we know and what to expect and just the overall story and gameplay for this next release of Call of Duty Zombies. As there is so much new info to tackle and dive into, I'm going to be splitting this video up into three major categories: story, gameplay, and what to expect going into the future. I'm sure there will be information that you know, however there may be some information that will surprise you or get you excited for this next iteration of zombies. But before we jump in, after this video ends, and if, emphasis on the if, you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like and maybe subscribing if you feel so inclined. It helps me grow and eventually will allow me to create more videos of this nature. With that out of the way, let's talk story. Call of Duty Vanguard Zombies storyline devolves into a pre-sequel to Call of Duty Cold War story. It's the foundation of what the Dark Ether actually is, with the start of the particle accelerator that ripped open the dimensions between the Dark Ether and our world, to later be known to us as Die Maschine. This experiment that was conducted let into our world 5 Dark Ether entities, taking the form of our field upgrades and the Big Bad. These entities' names are Cortifex the Deathless, Syraxis the Shadow, Nordicus the Conqueror, Invictor the Destroyer, and Bellicar the Warlock. The way they take form is through artifacts which were crafted in the Dark Ether. Our operators must use the different powers, however, at a cost. Anyone who uses these artifacts forms a bond between the entity and themselves, described as possession, except they do not control. They only lend their power and provide guidance and influence over the person. Through the use of the Dark Ether's powers, our operators will be stronger than ever. However, so will our enemies. The Reich has been using these powers of the Dark Ether to experiment and research dark magic, thanks to Oberfuhrer Wolfram von List and his elite battalion, rightfully named Die Wahrheit, which simply translates to the truth. They start enlisting help of any expert they can find, which then lead them to a demonologist named Gabriel Kraft. Gabriel Kraft eventually led von List to find one of the most powerful yet horrible artifacts that contained Cortifex the Deathless in Egypt. Cortifex was a former ruler of the Dark Ether and gave von List an abundance of power, which included raising the dead. Now that von List has this power, he will be attempting to take Europe and annihilate the Allied forces with his new army. Fortunately, Gabriel Kraft, the researcher who led von List to these artifacts, sent a distress call, which is then answered by us, the Vanguard Special Forces. Once our crew entered Stalingrad, Cortifex the Deathless sealed off Stalingrad to the outside world. Our operators will have to work together with Gabriel Kraft, along with Syraxis, Nordicus, Invictor, and Bellicar in order to leave. However, these entities may help us now, but they too have their own plans in our world. Now, that was a general synopsis of the start to the story, but what does this mean for the future of zombies? What we learn here in the past may change how we perceive what the Dark Ether is capable of in the future if left alone. There's so much lore that can expand on what the Dark Ether is, and that after Vanguard Zombies and being back in the present, we can only prepare for the worst. Okay, so we talked story, but what about gameplay? In this new iteration of Zombies, quite a bit is changing with the overall feel of the gameplay while keeping it core to the heart of Cold War Zombies mechanics. The best way to describe how this new map and game mode will work is a mix between Outbreak with objectives, Onslaught with how rewards are progressively handled, and round-based with how chaotic it can get. Unfortunately, it seems that we may not get our next fully round-based map until Season 1 begins in Vanguard or after. However, don't let this steer you away. There have been plenty of additions to affect how you and your team will play inside of Zombies this year, including covenants, choice of objectives, a fresh take on special zombies, new perks that we haven't seen before, and much more. With all that said, let's talk about what is returning first. We have the pack punch, the mystery box, crafting tables, armor system, salvage essence, rarities, weapon loadouts, minimaps, and field upgrades. However, these field upgrades work slightly differently. Let me explain. Inside the trailer, there was a mention of runes. These Dark Ether runes are how the Dark Ether entities manifest their power. This has me thinking that these runes that we collect somehow correlate to the energy of our field upgrades instead of getting just kills. I could be looking too far into it though, as there is a game mode that involves collecting these same rune stones, which we will talk about later. So that's everything that's returning, but what's new for the gameplay? Let's start with the enemy types. Of course, we have our normal zombies, but then we have our special / elite zombie of the map, which I might add is a bit of a crazy style for zombies. The Sturmkriegers, or Storm Warriors in English, these zombies are coated in armor, carry a minigun, and will shoot you if you are not careful. I mean, look at this honking boy. This guy's gotta tell me his secrets to his gains. Dark magic, I see. Next up on the block, we have a reimagined version of the Tormentors, the Boom Schreier, or Boom Screamer. These zombies seem to be scary and much more threatening than the Tormentors, as they actually have a massive explosion radius, so you will have to play smart when dealing with these guys at high waves. These are all the zombies you will encounter in your playtime as of right now, and we are bound to see more once the dark ether pours out over the world even more. Now we are going to go over how this new mode plays with its different objectives. Inside of Der Anfang, you will find yourself in Stalingrad. You can consider this a main hub of sorts to teleport in between the 3 different areas that play out with different objectives. These objectives include Blitz, Harvest, and Transmit. During the Blitz objective, you will be playing similar to the round-based maps that you know and love, with the twist being that instead of the zombies chasing you, you will be chasing them. Harvest is the game mode I mentioned before about collecting these runes for your field upgrade. Inside of Harvest, you will need to collect runes that drop from zombies and bring them back to the Sin Eater. Once filled, the objective completes. And finally, Transmit, which is an escort and survive style objective similar to the final step of Tagged or Toten's Easter egg, in which you survive inside the bubble while maneuvering around the map, or just an updated onslaught, whatever you want to call it. These objectives will provide challenges to the player as well as offer rewards by allowing you to open up the area around Stalingrad. You may choose the path you take to get perks, items to help you during your gameplay, as well as additional enemies to take on in Stalingrad. Speaking of perks, those have changed big time, at least visually. Unfortunately, I have not seen Juggernog throughout the trailer, but I did see Speed Cola, which looks pretty dang cool. But I've also seen 2 brand new perks, but we'll just have to wait and see what they're called until we get more information on it. In the meantime, let's take a look at this game's brand new feature, Covenants. Covenants is Vanguard's way of providing builds into zombies, such as a full-on support class, an offensive setup with weaponry, and other styles of play. You will be given or you will find sacrificial hearts that allow you to obtain a card of sorts that lasts for the entire time you keep it. In the 3 brief moments that were given to us, we can see Ammo Gremlin, stowed weapons refill ammo from stock quickly, which sounds amazing for weapons that take forever to reload. You can just have a setup that each have huge magazines and switch between the 2 every single time you need to reload to keep your damage output up. There's also Resurrectionist, which revives allies much faster and automatically revives nearby allies. So this is quick revive and near death experience combined into one. This is great for support players who die less often and will allow them to keep their friends in the fight. This one though sounds absolutely fun. Splatterfest. Enemies killed by explosions have a chance to explode. I can just imagine the clips of trains of zombies getting absolutely destroyed in a domino effect explosion. How does that not sound fun? The glorious bloodbath. Continuing on, we see Cryo Freeze as a slot for Covenants, which may mean that alternate ammo types will no longer be provided via Pack Punch. Bloodlust, which increases your melee attacks and heals you, which sounds like the tier upgrades for the melees in Cold War. Finally on this shot, we have Dead Accurate, which states successive shots on the same enemy deal more damage. So far as I can tell, we are losing out on some perks, but getting some of them back as Covenants to increase that difficulty, so you will have to be smart about what you choose for your builds inside of zombies. This sounds much more interesting to play so that we were not just overpowered up until round 40. On the next shot, we see Bloodlust again, however, its rarity is now blue, which means these Covenants may get stronger as we continue through the waves on Der Anfang. And then we have Brain Rot, which states that it has a chance to turn any enemy and is of purple rarity. Maybe alternate ammo types in this game will have a different effect as its rarity goes up or down, as well as it may last longer or last shorter. There's a ton of different things that could be happening here with the rarities of Covenants, but the last Covenant we see in this shot is Death Blow. Critical kills return a bullet to the clip. This sounds great for any weapon as long as you are hitting headshots, but sounds like it can be overtaken for a lot of other good Covenants to choose from. Our final shot shows Motherload, which gives you a small chance to keep equipment after using it, which is very similar to a Mule Kick upgrade. Then we see Coal the Weak, which deals much more damage to slower or stunned enemies, which may pair well with Cryo Freeze. See, the builds are already being thought of. And lastly, Unholy Ground, which increases your damage output when you are standing still or shortly after you start moving. There's a ton of things that you can mix and match for fun builds, but this Covenant system allows you to only carry 3 at a time and will always require a sacrificial heart to obtain one. So you will have to play smart in order to get to high rounds and waves. Now, I can't just brag on and on about the gameplay iterations and how this seems like such an interesting take, as I know there are my round-based peeps who are just absolutely foaming at the mouth. I understand I'm a little frustrated too with it, especially seeing as how some of these areas are just taken from multiplayer. But we got freaking Chino Numa. I mean, like, no, really, I think this is a neat addition, but let's hope to see some originality going forward. I don't mind reused campaign or multiplayer assets, just make them look unique. These gameplay changes are very wild and we will see how they will play out, but here's hoping they take more time on the maps themselves this time. Well, that's everything involving story and gameplay. There's one more brief area I want to talk about though, and that's just kind of what to expect overall diving into Vanguard Zombies this year. At launch, Vanguard Zombies will release with Feng, a new approach to how Zombies is played, and there will not be a round-based map at launch. But leaks and speculation say that the round-based map will release at the start of Season 1 of Vanguard, or roughly the 23rd of November. This map will be called War of the Dead, so if you are holding out, that's the date to look forward to. There will be cross-progression with your weapon levels, player levels, and battle pass progression as usual, along with free content drops that we have come to enjoy. Vanguard Zombies will end up providing more ways to play, instead of providing the same style of play each time the match is played out. Look forward to the changes and enjoy the new graphical updated look to Zombies, as I'm pretty sure I'll be diving in head first. As much as I dislike producing long videos, I wanted to get this out as I'm actually very intrigued by these new changes. If you're not impressed, then feel free to fight me, I kid, to comment your thoughts down below. I would love to have a discussion on how you feel the game should change. And also, if you feel so inclined, check out my Discord. I play with viewers, hang out in chats, share stupid memes, and generally love talking to people. So I would love to have you. I hope everyone has a great start to their weekend, and I will catch you in the next one.